An interesting battle with the dragons. Ziyan is, of course, a real beauty. With a single powerful strike of the Dragon Slayer sword, she almost killed all the Dragon Kings. In the end, all of them fled as cripples. As for their future fate, we will talk about that a little later. Xiao Yan truly surpassed himself this time. He used so many high-level techniques in a single battle. Remember the times when experts only had the strength to unleash one such move, and after that the winner would already be obvious? Xiao Yan used the Buddha's Fury Lotus, the Wrath of the Serene Yellow Springs, the reincarnation of the Wrathful Buddha, and several other techniques. Even so, it is not easy for a one-star saint to fight against three-star saints. That is true even considering all of Xiao Yan's trump cards. And no less important, Xiao Yan made a breakthrough. The multiple bloodlines that had been dormant within his body were activated. He has now reached the initial stage of the second star of the Saint Realm. The little Ziyan is no longer little at all. It seems the studio is hiding something from us. Just look at these so-called cut scenes. Ziyan and the other girls around Xiao Yan are no longer a joke. So, the Void Dragon arc has officially ended. Of course, it all felt very fast. Just 3 episodes and that was it. In the original novel, this arc spans far more chapters. By the way, write in the comments what you think about this Dragon Civil War and its ending. But the story with the Dragon Kings is not over yet. They did not die. We will talk about that in an upcoming video. The next major story arc is the chapter of the Purifying Lotus Flame. This is Xiao Yan's next important goal. In fact, it was precisely for this flame that Xiao Yan rushed to reach the Saint Realm. According to Yao Lao, without the strength of a saint, one should not even dream of obtaining this heavenly flame. But first, he will obtain another heavenly flame that ranks 15th on the heavenly flame ranking. Yes, as everyone knows, this is the Sea Heart Flame. Xiao Yan will forcibly tear it out of Mu Gu's body. This epic moment is shown directly in the trailer. During the attack on the Soul Hall branch, the Hall of Mortals, Xiao Yan, together with Yao Lao, who by the way, has also become a Doushang saint, and Ziyan, unleashed a truly massive slaughter. However, the episode introduced some changes. Xiao Yan unexpectedly fights Guyu, even though in the original story, shortly after he takes the essence of the Sea Heart Flame, the first Tianzun appears almost immediately. Yao Lao was busy fighting Guyu, the half-saint Ban Sheng. Meanwhile, Xiao Yan faced the first Tianzun, who was already a 2-star saint. We already talked about this in previous videos. It is possible that in the episode, the first Tianzun will appear only to save Guyu, just like last time. Moreover, after seeing Xiao Yan's talent, the first Tianzun invites him to join the Soul Hall. In the trailer, Xiao Yan is once again pursuing Guyu. Guyu has no strength left for a proper fight, as he is only a high-level half-saint, and the gap between them is far too large. However, Guyu is still the second Tianzun of the Soul Hall, and they could not simply allow him to be killed here. At that moment, the first Tianzun appears with overwhelming authority, neutralizes Xiao Yan's lethal move, and separates him from Guyu. This was their first truly significant encounter. At the same time, the first Tianzun did not immediately enter the battle. After seeing Xiao Yan's cultivation level, he finally began to treat him seriously. But the most unexpected part was that he extended an olive branch and invited Xiao Yan to join the Soul Hall. If Xiao Yan had agreed, the Han clan would certainly have supported him and helped him become even stronger. Unfortunately, this was only the one-sided wish of the first Tianzun. Xiao Yan had long been in mortal enmity with the Soul Hall. His father had been captured, and Yao Lao had nearly died at their hands. He could not befriend his enemies. Thus, Xiao Yan rejected the first Tianzun's offer. The first Tianzun flew into a rage, believing that Xiao Yan simply did not know the immensity of heaven and earth and had no understanding of how powerful the Han clan truly was. A fierce battle broke out between them. Yao Lao also did not waste any time and entered combat with Guyu, the Bone Saint. Yao Lao had already broken through to the 1-star Doushang realm, while Guyu remained only a half-saint Ban Sheng. From the very start of the battle, Guyu felt complete despair. In the end, that was exactly how it turned out. Relying on his own overwhelming combat power, Yao Lao dominantly killed Guyu, greatly weakening the strength of the Soul Hall. So what about the battle between Xiao Yan and the first Tianzun? How did it end? As we remember from previous videos, the first Tenzuan summoned the Bone Emperor Sword, while Xiao Yan unleashed the Flame Spiral, 5-ring burst technique. When the two attacks collided, they suppressed each other and dissipated. Xiao Yan was impressed. This bone sword was indeed somewhat mysterious. The dome of flames around Xiao Yan gradually faded, so he absorbed the 5 clusters of flame back into his body from the shattered technique. He stared at the white bone sword with some astonishment, as he could sense strange fluctuations coming from it. These fluctuations inflicted severe damage on the human soul. If his soul had not been protected by a heavenly flame, he would have been the one injured after the clash. You truly live up to your name, the one who has caused the Soul Hall to fail again and again. You do have ability. The first Tianzun began to treat Xiao Yan far more seriously. In just one short year, you managed to break through to the 2nd star of the Saint Realm. Even the Soul Hall has no choice but to acknowledge your progress. At this moment, the first Tianzun unexpectedly invited Xiao Yan once again to join the Soul Hall, saying that his status would not be inferior to his own position. Xiao Yan smiled strangely, making it clear that this enmity would end only with the death of one side. The first Tianzun made a light gesture with his palm, and the Bone Emperor Sword instantly responded to his will. The enormous sword soared into the air and stopped directly in front of him. In the next instant, the old man's figure completely dissolved into the blade. A true fusion of man and weapon had occurred. Xiao Yan immediately realized that he was witnessing an extremely rare and dangerous technique. The first Tianzun had tempered himself for several hundred years to achieve complete fusion with the Bone Emperor Sword, and now he was using this power in real combat for the first time. After the fusion, the entire blade began to distort. An ancient face of the first Tianzun emerged on its surface, and the sword became covered with countless blood-red veins, as if it had turned into a living being filled with blood vessels. Almost immediately, the Bone Emperor Sword trembled and vanished. Its speed was so fast that even Xiao Yan could not capture its trajectory. Sensing mortal danger, he reflexively leapt backward, but the space in front of him instantly compressed. The sharp blade appeared directly above his head and slashed downward, missing him by only a few centimeters. The sword disappeared once more and, in the next moment, erupted with dazzling light. Countless sword shadows appeared around Xiao Yan, closing in on him from all directions and forming a sealed formation. This was the 6-joint flowing slash technique, used in a terrifying offensive form. Yes, to the first Tianzun sword attack, Xiao Yan chose to respond with his own sword. Bone Sword versus Flame Sword. Xiao Yan instantly focused. The heavy Xian ruler, also known as the Flame Ruler, appeared in his hand. The massive weapon trembled, releasing dense sword shadows that formed a solid protective dome around him. In the next instant, countless bone blades crashed down onto this defense. A sharp metallic clang rang out. Sparks exploded one after another, and the surrounding space was violently torn apart by the collision of 2 opposing forces. The attacks of the Bone Emperor's sword grew faster and more ferocious. Xiao Yan could clearly feel that this offensive power had already reached the level of a high-tier 2-star saint. Even an expert like Yao Ming would face serious difficulty in such a battle. The fusion of man and sword truly elevated the first Tianzun to an entirely different level. At a certain moment, Xiao Yan's sense of danger suddenly intensified. He instantly turned his head, and at that very moment, a thin yet extremely concentrated beam of cold light pierced through the defensive network of heavy sword shadows. The strike hit his shoulder. A blinding flash erupted at the point of impact, and the blade slammed into his body with terrifying force. A loud clang echoed as sparks flew in all directions. However, no blood splashed out. Instead, several shattered scales fell from Xiao Yan's shoulder. These were fragments of the ancient Dragon Phoenix armor, which he had summoned at the critical moment. Seizing the opening, Xiao Yan violently swung the heavy ruler and knocked the Bone Emperor sword away. He glanced at his shoulder and saw a clear red mark left behind by the strike. His expression darkened. This was the first time that the defensive formation of the 6-joint flowing slash had been partially breached. It clearly demonstrated just how terrifying the first Tianzun's attack power was after merging with the sword. After that, the first Tianzun reappeared in the air once more. Despite Xiao Yan's formidable physical body, the first Tianzun displayed absolute confidence in his superiority, relying on the overwhelming speed granted by his fusion with the Bone Emperor sword. Xiao Yan remained calm. He understood very well that with this single technique alone, the first Tianzun already possessed the qualifications to challenge a high-tier 2-star saint. If he could not separate the first Tianzun from his sword, defeating him would be extremely difficult. After taking a short breath, Xiao Yan focused once more. His palms closed together as he began forming complex hand seals. A powerful spiritual force burst forth from his forehead and rapidly took the shape of a massive illusory human figure standing behind him. The surrounding aura instantly changed, filling the space with immense pressure, as Xiao Yan decided to counter speed with speed. When the seals were completed, he activated the divine fury of the Yellow Springs. The illusory figure opened its mouth wide, and a monstrous sound-based spiritual attack erupted outward. A wave of devastating spiritual energy spread rapidly through the air. What a battle! Truly incredible. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and see you next time.